Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Take Control podcast. You got Brandy here.
Dario.
And it's Kim.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Well, wait. Let me back up. We got a guest. I'm sorry. I ain't got that one. I'm not thinking straight. We have a guest. I will let you do the pleasure of introducing yourself. Tell everybody who you are, what you got going on.
All right. My name is Brian. They call me Murph in the streets, and I am here to just kick it with the ladies and just see what's going on today.
To say that is not your name.
What you mean? What's not?
That's not what we
Murph?
call you.
What you call me? You call me something else?
No, when you said Brian.
Oh,
Oh, they
yeah.
say, wait, we don't.
Nah, I mean people that grew up with me call me Brian, but most people they call me Murph. So yeah, but
Well, welcome.
thank you.
Thanks
Appreciate
for being
it.
here.
Yeah, thanks.
Y'all, oh my gosh. Okay, well, let's just jump right into it. So, okay, we had like a listener question. And she wants to know why it seems like a lot more women are playing the man role in dating and why men seem to be a little more sassy these days. And I asked her to give me examples because I've been seeing a lot of women say that men are sassy and I just don't understand. But she says, let me pull it up because now I can't find it. Sorry. Well, how far back is it?
What's the man's role in dating though?
That's what I was about to ask.
That's probably
But
why
you said
Dario
she
was like,
gave
give me context.
examples,
Yeah, we
yeah.
need context.
Yeah, I'm like,
clues.
give me, but I feel like, okay, she says she feels like there's a lot of pettiness and clapbacks on social media from men. And she feels like they don't take control like a man should or lead. And they want women to court them, but don't do the same for us.
Okay.
It's
Murph.
interesting.
Thoughts?
I was gonna say, you think this man-
I mean, I don't know. I've been called sassy before, but it was on the heels of like expressing how I felt about something that I didn't like.
Mhm.
And so that's really the only reference I have to like what sassy means. To me, it was silly to me.
Sassy?
Yeah, I'm like, that's a healthy man. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's how it came up to me. And so
Can I ask what it was that you didn't like?
I don't know that I remember
Oh, okay.
more than I remember being called sassy. You know what I mean? But it's I don't know. I don't like the term because it's really like a dig at your manhood, honestly.
Do you think it was because of like you were just expressing yourself in general or like what you said?
No, I think it was so, man, that particular person that I was talking to about something that day, I do remember that she was just kind of rude in general all the time. You know what I mean? And it was cool and different because after the new year hit, she circled back around and was like apologizing for just being rude for no reason, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But like she wanted to say that in that moment.
You want to get
And
it
so
off
I
the
don't
chest.
have an accurate reference on what that is. As far as a man taking the lead in dating, the only thing I could think of when I was looking at those notes, for brothers, it might be a little difficult to figure out what you want to do sometime. Depends on what your expectation is for a date,
Mm-hmm.
Because I know we're good at saying what we don't like. Don't take me here, don't take me there. So it's a little hard to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Have y'all seen that post on social media? It's the girl and she's explaining how you need to basically tell a man what you want. It was a text conversation. The dude was asking her about coffee or something. And she was like, I don't do coffee. She was like, but restaurant week is this week. Here are a few options or something like that. Have y'all seen
I
that?
seen that.
Mm-mm.
I seen that a while back.
And she like basically gave him options for him to make a decision. Like she basically gave him the playbook. Do y'all feel like that's useful?
I don't know that that's a good playbook though.
That's what I'm saying. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no. Why? Because you're not even like you're telling me what you want. And that might sound good on the outside, but like if you want me to be comfortable doing something, then you give me an outline that I got to stay in, and I might not be comfortable with that outline that you gave me.
So this could go a lot of different ways.
It could go a lot of different ways.
So if I'm hearing you, are you saying women should give men the space to plan or come up with? Because I think that's where women, y'all lose us at, because it's like, hey, can I take you out? But then y'all don't have a plan.
I think that the space should be there for us to be able to plan something. But whatever that is, if that doesn't meet your expectation, you just kind of got to deal with it in the moment and figure out a way to communicate that after the fact.
Got it.
Because it's really hard to, guys just aren't really creative in certain like aspects. So I'm working on a nonprofit. I've been working on it for a while. It's really geared towards dads and their kids. And like the whole premises behind it is to help fathers come up with things to do with their kids. Because we just don't think all the time on what to do. And so a date is really no different. Like it might be a little silly, but like allow me the space to fail so that I feel comfortable. And then if you talk to me right, I ain't really like the coffee. I'm like, okay, cool. But if I know I'm in your group chat because of the coffee, that make it a little difficult. Like it makes it hard to want to try to think out of the box. You know what I mean? So I believe in safe spaces for both parties for everything, especially when it comes to like dating, because it's a lot of expectations.
I agree with that.
I think that's good to know, because I feel like when a man doesn't do something that, for example, the coffee date, immediately the woman is like on TikTok, like, this man took me on a date and went to a coffee shop. I don't like it. And just like bashing him instead of just telling him like what you said, like, I didn't like that. Let's try something different next time. Like they just be immediately ready to cut a nigga off.
It gives ungrateful,
Yeah.
Because everybody's time is valuable. Like just because we didn't do what you thought we should do. But if you really want to do something, like, then maybe you ought to pay for it. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Hold on. Pump your brakes.
Just saying. If you really got something you want to do and he's not, like, lead by example.
But then that's where the conversation where if a woman gives you examples of what she likes to do, what's wrong with that? That way you don't have the opportunity to fail. Right?
I mean, I can understand that on some aspects. But I mean, so are we talking about a first date or like multiple after the first ones? It kind of depends on that. The first one, you got to kind of take it on the chin on what he give you if you want him to do it. And then after that, I mean, you can turn up on him if he's still trying to take you to United Skates North in the coffee shop. But I don't know. I don't have the answers, nor am I going to try to speak for everybody. Like, I just know how I would like it brung to me. And, when I do go on a date, I do struggle with what to do. And it's not because I don't want to. It's because there is a lot of things to do. And I know what I like, but I don't necessarily know what she likes all the time until she tells me. And then I'm like, oh, let's do that.
So you're not going to ask her?
I mean, ask her what? Like, what do you want to do on a date?
To do?
But that still kind of goes with you want a man to kind of take the lead. So it's kind of hard sometimes. And plus, we run the risk of you telling us something crazy. And then we got to do it.
And all of this, it just seems like, specifically for you and somebody who wants to date you, it probably should look like, okay, there's interest. Now somebody reaches out and we're texting and we probably should have a conversation around, okay, well, do you have any ideas? And it's a conversation conversation of ideas of what to do. Yeah. And then you guys are like, okay, we're going to do this.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about what we want to do and we can do that.
Got you.
I believe in, which I hate to say like Steve Harvey said, but I like the rule that he had came up with a long time ago where it was like, and sorry, y'all, I'm a little sick. I've been sick for like 13 days in total now, so excuse the congestion. Where he basically was like, women tend to think that men who do what they want are like the best man on the planet, but it's because you gave him the keys of telling like you're like, oh my God, you took me to my favorite restaurant because you told him that's what it was. versus giving him the room to figure out what is her favorite food, what is her favorite coffee shop, what is her favorite fill in the blank. So I always, if somebody were to ask me on a date, I always give a little bit, but let them plan, if that makes sense. So that way it's still something I'm interested in, but I want to see what you come up with. And then that's my dating style too. Like if I were to take my partner out, I would want to do the same thing.
I respect that.
But to your point, it's personal preference, I think, sometimes on how certain people date.
Just stay home. Everybody should just stay home.
There's too many rules. Like
there are no rules.
Yeah,
honestly.
that's what I was gonna say.
It depends on who you're dating and how you're dating, but there's really no rule book.
Yeah, everybody is different. As long as we understand that everybody is different and accept everybody's differences, it should be all right.
Okay, this brings me to my next point about vulnerability and why men struggle to be vulnerable with women. And I was having a conversation with one of my male friends recently, and he was just basically telling me like he feels like there's no woman on this earth that makes a man feel comfortable and safe enough to like open up and be vulnerable. Why do you think that is?
I don't believe that.
Or do y'all agree? I don't agree
Yeah, I
either.
don't agree.
I talk about it and agree.
Yeah, I disagree.
That's it. That's like, that's it. That's all. Ain't that? That's like.
Yeah.
No, I do think we people in general, I think we struggle with showing our full selves to someone, whether it's in your friendships or partnerships. I think it's very few people who can totally be 100% themselves with somebody. But to say that, oh, there's not a one, no.
Yeah.
You don't, I think that's more like you don't want to be vulnerable.
I kind of agree with that. It's, again, I only speak from my own experience. A lot of people are starting to learn. I'm recently divorced as of like March. And so.
Wait, you're recently divorced?
Yeah, as of this
I
past
thought it was
March.
longer than that.
No, I've been separated and out of there for a while.
I didn't know you was married.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't. That's the thing. If you feel alone, I'm gonna look alone.
Yeah,
and that's how I took it. But so me speaking from my experience in that situation, what made me uncomfortable being vulnerable is knowing that I wasn't being heard. And for me personally, because we were into church and things like that, I knew that I wasn't being taken serious because, you know, I don't believe in divorce, even though I'm divorced. But, you know, with me saying how I felt for years and years and years, it was, oh, we don't believe in divorce. So, you know, whatever my issues was just going by the wayside. And so not being heard is what made me not want to be vulnerable. Like it was pointless. But today going forward, I have to be able to be vulnerable. Like I will never find myself in a space that I can't say how I feel and somebody's going to hear me. Never again.
Can I ask you if that started before marriage? Like, do you feel like as you're in a childhood perspective, as a Black man in America, were you taught to not be vulnerable, or did you feel like you had that space growing up?
So for me, I think about how I grew up as a child and as a Black man in particular. We're always told to like stay in your place as a child and speak to when you're spoken to, stay in your place. So for me, I really had to have a moment with myself. When did I become a man? You know, a lot of cultures got that, you know, when they, bar mitzvahs, you know what I mean? When you become a certain age, like they do things. So for me, I really had to sit with myself and figure out, okay, when do I become a man? Because it felt really, like I still feel like a kid.
Right.
Like I'm 41 and I still feel like I'm in my early 20s. And so I'm like, when does that switch flips that says, okay, now you're a man? You know, I got a whole 9-year-old, but I still think like, I can't believe I got a kid. Like I still had those thoughts. And so I don't know. I think it goes back to then and me really taking that journey to figure out, okay, now, you know, sitting in a church board or something like that, you know, you're surrounded by elders and pastors and things and everybody's talking, but I found myself in my 30s still afraid to speak up and really have that space. So it took a lot of work to really feel like, you know, I deserve to be able to say something.
Right.
And once I found that, then it kind of translated into like, wait a minute, even in this relationship, Like I still deserve to be able to say something. And so it really took a lot of like digging on my part, like on my own, to really see like, man, you really been told to be in the child's place your whole life. Nobody ever came back and told you.
Yeah, wow.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, you a man, you handling your business. And no matter what, like being a business owner, entrepreneur for like 9 years, still feel like an 18-year-old. So yeah, I think you got to really have a serious talk with yourself to see where am I really at in life and how do I really feel about myself? And for me, I felt like for a long time, I didn't feel like an adult. And so, like I said, when I discovered that, I seen the other areas that I felt that way. And that was, that marriage was one of them areas too.
Okay.
Wow. That's deep.
I know.
Okay, so this is kind of like a touchy subject for me, but how do y'all feel about like, say you have a friend of the opposite sex and their partner is not comfortable with y'all being friends, so they kind of like makes your friend in the friendship with you? Kim's facials.
That has happened to me twice last year. So it honestly, I took it really hard because I thought that the male friends that I was friends with, like, I thought it was truly like a brother-sister relationship. And that if that ever happened, because I've been on the opposite end of that, I had a partner that was like that. And I felt like if that had ever happened, a conversation could be had with all three parties. And the crazy part is it did in one of those scenarios. And so that took me even more for a loop because I was like, oh, like I literally talked to Shorty, like her and I had a conversation. We were like mad cool, like nothing. And there was no exit or break off. Like both male friends just stopped talking to me in general. Like if I reached out, there was no reply. It's really that simple. That's how mine got cut off. There was never this, hey, they said we can't talk to you. But because we were so close, they would let me know like, hey, she's uncomfortable, like if we all kick it or if we this or we that. And it wasn't just me, it's more than one girl. So it's not like I'm like out here trying to home wreck. It was literally more than one girl. It's like, we're not comfortable with her either. Or her, or her, or her. She can stay though because she's bisexual. Or she can stay because she's a lesbian, she's not going to try you. But everyone else, no. So I took them hard. I didn't take them personal, but I did take them hard because it did feel like losing a sibling, which I've been in that situation multiple times with both of my siblings. And I always say sometimes it feels hard to grieve people that are alive because, there's still opportunity and chance for redemption versus someone that's passed. It's obviously a lot harder. So, yeah.
I can't see it. I'm going to just be completely honest because my male best friend, we, 12, 13 years into our friendship, and we don't talk as often because he's kind of a loner. We check in, you know what I mean? Like, we on the phone, I'm like, all right, I love you, bro. Like, we off the phone. I've been in a relationship where my partner wasn't comfortable with him. We had a conversation about it, and I was just honest, like, he's not going nowhere. Like, and the only reason why I get phone calls at random times is because he's on a different side of the country. Actually, I don't even think he was in the country at that time. But yeah, I can't see it. I don't see him being like, oh, I can't talk to you no more because of X, Y, and Z. But like I said, we also don't talk. We don't sit on the phone. We maybe sit on the phone once a month and be on the phone for hours. But I don't think it would be a position where a woman would be like, oh, I'm not comfortable with Brandy because I'm not in his space like that and he's not in mine. So yeah, I don't really see it.
I think it's weird.
You think what's weird?
That women be doing that. That's weird. To me, that screams insecure because, like, and then I had posted something on my Facebook about it, and there was women on there that was saying, like, I don't believe in my partner being friends with the opposite sex. And I'm just like, is it because your nigga did some weird shit? Or, like, what is it? Because I feel like, for me, I think has happened to me twice, too. In one situation, like, I'm still friends with both of them, but it's just not the same.
Yeah.
It's just not, we're not as close as we used to be. And it really made me feel some type of way. And I did take it personal because I'm not that girl. Like, Kim said, I'm not a home wrecker. Like I could be friends with the girl. I
Yes.
don't care. Like
Yes.
it's not that big of a deal to me. So it's just like, if I'm not giving you a reason to feel that way, why are you feeling that way? And then it's just like, if you as my friend feel like you got to take a step back to make your girl happy, which I'm not saying you got to choose me over. I'm not saying that. Then I just rather us not be friends at all. Like, I'm cool.
So what if y'all were the girlfriend in a scenario? How does that work?
I don't mind like
Yeah.
my partner having, you know, female friends. I think in the past, the only time it was an issue is because they try to mask like them talking to a girl. I was like, oh, that's just my friend, just to like make me feel like they're not doing it, but they really were doing something. But I know the difference between somebody that's just your friend and somebody that you're trying to talk to. Like that doesn't bother me.
I was going to say the same. And this is kind of why I was saying I would have wanted the opportunity to have to talk to one of the other girls. Because again, I got to talk to one. I don't think it's that hard to tell if somebody's checking for somebody. I really don't. So for me as a girlfriend, I've always just literally sat back and watched the interaction. And if I don't feel any type of way, I don't feel any type of way. And if I do, I'm not running up to both of you in the moment. What the fuck? I'm going to have a conversation with my man on the flip side of things. And if I feel like there's a conversation I just need to have with Shorty, we can. But I've never been in that scenario where I feel like I had to. Because again, I do have a lot of male friends because I think with having a brother 18 months older than me, I catered up under him, was acting like a little tomboy, like wearing his clothes and stuff. So like, I always feel like the homie no matter what. I feel like the sister no matter what. And I watch 9 times out of 10, my partners, their female friendships are the same. And then to your point, like one of my best friends, me and his girlfriend got super, super close because she was the same way. She ended up moving away and they ended up splitting. But I loved having that trio. Like we all can go kick it. We all can go bowl. We all can, you know what I mean? Like I'm not pulling up to every date night, obviously, but I love when I feel included. Like, okay, another example, my brother's childhood best friend, who's like a brother to me and his fiance are so close because like I'm going on their bachelor and bachelorette trip because we all got to know each other. You know what I mean? And her and I talk about that dynamic where she's like, yeah, I had to watch all of his friends and just make sure like there wasn't anything going on. If I felt like there was, they addressed it later. It was never this, what the hell? Like, so I agree.
Since we have a man here, what's your thoughts on it?
Right.
I mean, I've been on both sides of the equation, where I've given up friends, and I fought to keep them. I think kind of to something that you said earlier, Kim, is like, I've learned to kind of not battle what a woman feels. And like, so today in a situation like that, if she tells me I don't really like something over there, even if I disagree, I'm not going to discount it because I mean, y'all got some stuff that I don't got, you know what I mean? And I can completely disagree. No, that's just my friend. And we ain't never checked for each other like that. But I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong because I don't know what you picked up. And hopefully once that's expressed to me, I got to look for an opportunity to kind of show and prove at that point. But I mean, I got a lot of friends, a lot. So it's something that's dealt with constantly. So
yeah.
But y'all tell me y'all feel something. I ain't gonna battle it.
Yeah.
I might disagree, but I ain't gonna tell you, like, you tripping. Nah, I'm cool.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so I saw this post on Instagram. It says, men who think they're nice guys are low-key arrogant and manipulative men who think they're perfect because they don't cheat. They gaslight you into thinking you're the only problem and that you should be eternally grateful that they're perfect because they don't cheat. Gentle but toxic.
I was mad that it looked like a guy posted that.
This is a guy.
Like, what?
That is a guy. But that brought me to a point where, like, I'm not saying I totally agree with this, but sometimes I do think nice guys use their kindness to get what they want out of women. Like, there are men who I consider nice guys that will try to be like, act like they're there for you. Like, I'm here for you, whatever you need. I got you.
But at that point, that's not really a nice guy, though.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, so are we saying they're not nice guys? Because, I mean, by way of you being nice, you probably gonna get what you want anyway, right?
I mean, in a roundabout way, like, it works out like that. But like, you not a true to your nature nice guy if you really just looking for an opportunity
to manipulate and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Because I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to speak for the man race, but like I said, for myself, like I'm looked at as a nice guy. I'm looked at as the corny guy. Like I've come to grips with all of that kind of stuff. Like people view me certain ways because I don't present how people like for guys to present sometimes. You know what I mean? And I'm okay with that. But like for me, like I know well enough to know, like, don't look for anything in return when you do stuff for people. Like it's not a biblical principle. Like it's not a godly principle. God asks us to do things, and when we do those things, we get fed in return. Like it's a guarantee. And so like if you a good guy, and there are probably guys like that, you know what I mean? Guys can be some trash. So there probably are guys like that, but a true to his nature good guy is not going to be on that.
I agree. So I came to the conclusion that nice guys really ain't nice guys.
Those kind.
Those kind.
Yeah, I was saying the manipulative. Yeah, I'm like the manipulative ones that are playing
but
nice.
I feel like even with that, like you could probably pick up on the signs.
Yeah.
Like I'm nice to a lot of people. I'm not hitting them up constantly either. I'm not hitting them up, checking on them constantly. Oh, you good? Like you'll get a message from me like once every 6 months or something. Yo, you cool? You good? That's it. But like I'm not weekly in your bing. Like yo, what's that? Like that? I feel like is a red flag. Like so.
Yeah.
You got to be aware of how this good guy, this nice guy, is really coming at you, and you can tell if it's some weird stuff.
And I think it could be a season that a person is in, right? Because it's making me think about Insecure. When Issa and Lawrence broke up, and he started dating the girl from the bank. And she was like, the thing is you a fuck nigga that don't know he a fuck nigga or something like that. She said, he was a good guy. He was just in a breakup season. You know what I mean?
He has some ways about him.
That's funny.
Yeah. I just think it's odd just because I've had some people approach me on some like, oh, do you need anything? And then it's just like, what about some pussy? Like, what?
Did you believe it when they asked you?
When they asked you?
Not everybody. I wouldn't say everybody, but some people I did have higher expectations from, and they just disappointed me. And I was just like, never again.
So when you say they disappointed you, is it that you couldn't see that this person could disappoint you? Or did you like expect it at the end? Like, was there any inclination that this person could be something else?
No, not at first. Okay. Not at first.
All right.
But I'm hip now. Okay. This question came from Brandy.
What did I ask? I don't even remember.
It says, do you know who you are outside of what you do, what you look like, and what you can offer to others? Where did this come from?
I was having a conversation with somebody, and we were just talking about the whole value conversation that's always on social media, men of value, women of value. And the conclusion that we had came to in the conversation is just, in terms of dating, like I've never really been concerned when something didn't work out about whether or not you would find somebody better than me or not, because I know who I am outside of where I work, what I can offer you, and what I look like. And I feel like when you ask people a lot of times, like, who are you? And it's like, oh, it's wrapped up in I make X amount of money, or I have these degrees, or I like to buy material things. I like labels, things like that. But then when you strip all that away, who are you? Like, to your core, who are you? And so I was just something I threw out there.
You know what's funny? I saw this post before I came here, and he said, when women meet a guy that's not just interested in sex or something like doesn't want sex, she has nothing to offer him. And I was like, what the fuck? That's insane. But I don't have an answer. Do you have an answer?
You don't have a thought to that?
No.
Man, you had like a week.
No, I didn't even think about it. I feel like it was too deep.
Hearing you explain it, my answer would be yes, because when someone does ask me who I am, I never think about my accomplishments. I always think about I always say God's child first, and then the rest will fall in line of who I know I am to people and how I show up. So hearing you explain it that way, I immediately was like, oh yeah, I know who I am, and I know that I'm confident in who I am and what I am. I know that I have flaws and things that I need to work on. but I know there's a huge part of me that is very secure and knows who I am and what I am and where I'm going and all those things. And I forget about the accomplishments I have because I think I got them in such low places that I know the only reason they were obtainable was God. So I always think about him first when someone's like, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
So
That's cool. I think kind of on the same lines when I think about who I am. I do think about, I'm gonna call it my nature, as far as how I treat people, how I interact with people. I look at those things before I look at anything that I have, because today I still don't feel like I have anything. And so, I look at the character pretty much. Something that I was thinking about with this particular question is like, does it change, and do we know what we look like in a relationship though? Like, we know what we look like in, our minds and in the world, but like, do we know who we are in a relationship?
For me, I'm gonna say no. Because when I'm out of a relationship and when I'm in one, I'm two totally different people. And I'm still trying to find out who Brandy is at 36, partnered, right? Like, I know that I'm a lot softer in relationships. But I'm interested to see when I do get back in one, like, what's going to come up for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's some people I can be super honest with about how I'm feeling. And multiple things can hold space and be true. But I wonder, like, what insecurities are going to come up for me in relationship. Because like we talked on the last show, there's some things that aren't going to come up until you are in relationship.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, I want to explore that, so hopefully God bring my man in 2025. But we'll see.
That's a solid answer, because that says that you really thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not just out here kind of just going by the wayside without having that thought. But
Yeah.
that's solid.
I was gonna say, I agree with you. I'll say yes and no for the exact same reason. I feel my confidence strongest, most worthy, most obtainable when I'm by myself. And when I'm in a relationship, I feel like I feel that half the time and half not the time. But I'd be curious of what that looks like when I get into another one, because I'm sure it'll be 4 or 5 years removed from my last one. And I'd be curious to see what the growth and everything looks like with me standing on that security for so long in between. You know what I mean? And to the point of the last show is having somebody that will make me feel secure enough to stand in that. You know what I mean?
Why y'all looking at me?
Because you know why we looking at you.
I said, I ain't thought about it. I
haven't, y'all. I get quiet when I'm trying to process.
That's all right.
I guess, answer. After looking at the question, I know my character. So I feel like I don't know. But when it comes to relationships, like, I feel like when I'm in a situation, I feel like I'm a little fake. And not necessarily in a bad way, but I also feel like sometimes I try to be a certain way because I can be a people pleaser. Or I've had times where I felt like I couldn't fully be myself because maybe I just didn't feel 100% comfortable with that person, or they just had ways about them where I'm just like, I don't want to piss them off, so let me be a certain way. But I'm working on it. I've been a lot more like vocal and like putting my foot down about certain stuff and just telling people like, nah, that's not gonna work for me. Like, no. So I think I've gotten better. And I stopped being delusional too when I'm dating. So.
Delusional? What's delusional? What was you delusional about?
I feel like delusional for me is when when a man just be lying to you and just telling you all the good things and he lying, but you just believe it anyway. It's like, oh my God, I'm so in love. Like, this is my man. Like, we're going to get married. That's delusional. Like, that's not finna happen. I stopped doing that. And it helped me like not fall so fast for somebody. So I just be enjoying the little fun, Yeah. So.
That's cool. I think for myself, I think a lot of the experiences being married kind of let me know who I desire to be, because obviously you go through something like that. You learn a lot about people. I think one of the key things, Brandy, that you said even last week, and you just said it just a second ago, like, today I have the understanding that once you get married again or married for the first time, like this person today is going to be completely different in 5 or 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that understanding when I first did it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you think you got somebody that's one way, but then when this person completely changes, you mad about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like today I know that I feel like I would be more compassionate, and I'm not expecting the same person today, 5-10 years from now. And I don't think that's explored enough as far as counseling goes.
Yeah.
Like I feel like a marriage counselor should be trying to break y'all up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel
that.
like they should break you up, but no, I think those are good answers.
Okay. All right. So moving on. I watched this TikTok video that I sent to y'all, and the woman was basically saying men do not change from conversations, they change from consequences.
Mm.
Why are you deep side?
Thoughts. Bring them out.
I don't know. I'm gonna stay quiet for a second.
I think I agree. Only because from my experience, and this could just be the people that I've dated. Let me put that out there. I've noticed that like when I get all in my feels and I'm like typing my paragraph, or I'm just being vulnerable and telling the person like what they did wrong, how that made me feel, blah, 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 blah. I feel like it goes in one ear and out the other. But the moment I give them the energy back that they be giving me, or I just go silent, that's when they be on my line. So, just from my experience, I agree.
Because I'm ready to hear the thoughts.
I can understand that with the lens that you have. I don't agree with it. I think two things can be true. Sorry, sis, I'm gonna use you as an example.
Me?
No, my sister.
Oh,
my
Jerry was like, not too much.
My actual sister. She was having a little disagreement with a friend of hers, and he asked if I could give my opinion. Mm-hmm. And let me preface this by saying my sister's 23, so she don't know how to talk to people. She don't know how to vocalize. And so me and her basically said the same thing, but the way I approached it was totally different. And so him and I are on the phone talking about it, and I'm like, no, I'm just going to ask you these questions. Just answer these questions because I'm trying to lead you somewhere. I want you to think about what you're saying. And I got a little further than she did. So I say that to say, I think conversation will change a man, one, if he's open to it, to hear a different perspective. And if it's not like, this is what happened. And my question is, how does that help us? It may have helped you, but how does that help us if we want to get to wherever we want to get to? Mm-hmm. Sometimes I think that could trigger something in them to be like, you know what, I could understand that. I could see where she's coming from. Mm-hmm. And then other times it does take consequence. But then you got to stand on the consequences. Right. Because niggas don't, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to cuss you out, stop talking to you, and then you back in my house in a week. Now you get what you deserve. Like, you get the toxicity and the back and forth. So, I don't know.
I like that. Kim,
I'm still
looking at me. Go ahead,
Kim. Yeah, I think that's situational. Again, I agree with Brandy. Where like you got to stand on you show people how to treat you platonically and romantically. And I am a believer. If you don't speak on something the first time it's happened, you've just showed someone how to treat you, what you're going to tolerate, XYZ. So I think it can go both ways, and there can be both sides of that because there is truth to that. And then there's also truth to what you just said, Brandy, as far as like, well, yeah, if I'm going to tell you I'm for real done, but then we're talking again the next day about, so when are we going to go out again? That person's not going to take anything that you just said seriously moving forward. And it's not that can't change a little bit, or maybe they know you're more serious on this topic, or you're more serious, or less serious on that topic. But I just am a big believer in you show people how to treat you and vice versa. Yeah.
I don't feel like you got to yell and scream and do all of that to get your point across. Mm-mm. You absolutely don't.
You ain't about to do none of that, no way.
No. Absolutely not. I might cry. I give you that. I might cry, but yell and scream, no.
Yeah. I don't got it in me anymore. I think my last relationship took all of that away from me. I'd really just be looking at, like, when I had those issues with my sister, my last birthday, and she was going off, I just was like this. But what's the problem? Like, I did not have it in me like, what? I was like, no, but you're not telling me what's wrong. Like, that calm. I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't anymore.
I think for me, I'm split down the middle. So it's funny because you sent me the outline. So my lady today, I asked her about that because I don't feel like that applies to me. And so what she told me, and I'm taking her word for it, was her ex absolutely had to have consequences. And so it's 50-50. For me, you could talk to me and we could figure it out. We might have to go back and forth a few times, depending on how we're communicating. But I think you got both sides of the coin. Some cats need consequences and some cats don't.
Yeah.
I think it's about
I feel
maturity.
bad for the cats that do.
Yeah.
I don't. You made your bed, lay in it.
Ooh.
A
Shit.
word. Okay, so I asked my good friend.
Ooh. Oh, you talking about me?
Asked my good friend here to bring some questions for us ladies. So we're doing something a little different. He's going to ask us some questions. We don't know what they are, so we didn't have time to prepare. So
Off
now
the cuff is always nice.
it's your time.
All right.
So put us in the hot seat.
Okay. Well, it ain't hot. I wouldn't do y'all like that.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, no.
I was a little nervous.
No, I don't do none of them kind of games.
Okay.
Man. So really, I've been listening to y'all for a long time, like since y'all started. And I like the progress that you guys have made, you ladies have made, and it's something that I've told you before too. Like I've seen the growth, like. It was wild. Like when y'all were younger, you know what I'm saying? It was wild when y'all were younger.
Our little face.
Yeah, and it was what was it? I want a mean nigga. Like
Who said that?
it was on here, so it was said by a couple of y'all. You know what I mean? So I say that to say, like, I've been around and watching for a long time, and I've seen the.
Thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah, I've seen the changes over the years, and so I appreciate that, and it's shown in the content too. And so when I think about from the last episode and looked at kind of the outline you sent me, I just had a few questions that I feel like could take us a little deeper.
Her.
So I like to hear.
Yeah.
Take us a little deeper.
That's what y'all been asking for.
Yeah, a little deeper. And so for me, I have a podcast that I do. It's really just be by myself. It's called the Maniacal PodTalk. That's why I got my shirt on. This is a shirt that I make. And really what I've been doing is just like exposing myself, like in a therapeutic way for me. And so like, I don't mind putting my business on the street. I'm not expecting y'all to put y'all's business out there, but I have found that being vulnerable and being real with people, it connects a little more. So, you ain't got to have no crazy answer. If you ain't got no answer, you ain't got no answer. But, so let's look at a couple of these, right? So you
All of our
nervous?
faces.
Yeah.
Y'all nervous? It's not bad. I promise I wouldn't do y'all like that. So how has your definition of love evolved through your 30s? Has it changed at all from when you were younger? Has it evolved in your 30s? What does love look like to y'all?
Yes. And I feel like when I was in my 20s, love was just like fun and let's just kick it. Let's go with the vibe kind of thing. Now in my 30s, and I think we had a young lady on the show back then who was married, and she was talking about how love is a choice.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think I understood it
the
then.
What's Love episode.
But I understand it now that love is truly a choice because you're literally taking the best and worst parts of yourself and meshing it with somebody else and trying to figure that thing out. So I feel like I have more tolerance for people who stay in relationship that I think that they should leave. I think I have a lot more tolerance now than I did before because this shit is hard. You know what I mean? Like, I have to manage my own emotions, consider my own self on top of considering somebody else. And then you throw kids in that, like, it's hard. And if you're blessed enough to meet somebody that can really walk this thing out with you, even when it's not great, I can appreciate that. Before I'd have been like, what the fuck? Yeah. Like, leave. Like, got A or B. So yeah, it has definitely evolved. So I look forward to when I get there, preferably I get there, really being able to go the distance with somebody and see how we change.
That's solid. That's solid. Next.
What was the question again?
It was, has your definition of love evolved throughout your 30s?
I would say yes. But am I moving differently? I would say no.
What do you mean, are you moving differently?
Like, I feel like the things that I was doing in my 20s when it come to dating, I'm still doing now because I'm not serious.
Oh.
And I was just like in the car earlier on my lunch break, and I was just thinking like, I don't know if I could be saved, or I don't know if I want to be.
Don't save her.
Because like y'all have said, or like some of my friends have said, like, I am just so used to chaos that it's fun. Like, it's being like not being in chaos. I don't know what that feels like. And to me, it gives like I will be so bored and miserable that I don't even want to explore that. And that's how I know I'm not really serious right now. Like,
and that's okay.
Yeah, but I know, like, I'm aware of like, you know, the things that comes with dating, like the requirements and all that stuff. But, and I know that exists. I'm just not in that space.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that transparency. Only thing I would say to that is, if you know you're not serious, you can't make sure the guy is serious until you serious. Like, you can't expect him to be serious if you ain't.
That's why I date unserious niggas.
That's
exactly why.
The cycle continues.
I know, it's sad.
All right, Kim, what do you think?
I think I've always been an intentional dater, but I will say the older I've gotten, I am slower to date and at dating now. I've been in 3 relationships, and the last one was very, very heavy, and I think altered my idea of what love was in general, because there was love in the relationship, yes, but how the relationship panned out is not an example of how 2 people love each other. And I remember just taking it back to the Bible, and it's just, everybody uses this scripture for everything, but the love is patient, kind, doesn't envy, doesn't boast. Like, that is truly how I look at love now. And I'm not saying, obviously, there's times where, like, I might be at my 20 and my partner's at that 80, so it might, you know, like Brandy said, we're going to have to go through the thick of it to, like, hold each other accountable, keep each other balanced, everything like that. But I now am just truly not interested in dating unless, like, right now, it is a very, I don't know the word for it. I don't know the word for it that I want to use for it, but like, I'm sitting at a certain level with dating right now that's very surface level, because I'm, again, trying to be very slow and intentional about if and when I would be ready to commit to somebody. And in my 20s, it was like, oh, I want to be in a relationship, because I've always been a relationship girl. Like, I've tried dating around before, and it's just hard for me to just do. I just don't enjoy it. And I always wanted to be in a relationship and date that person for years and then get engaged and then get married, and that just be what it is. But all my relationships were in my 20s, and they didn't work out, and I'm okay with that because of whatever God's plan is, and they weren't the best examples of love. I will say my relationship coming out of high school into early adulthood, like, I have nothing negative to say about that. I think it was a great example of love, but it was also driven where God was the center. But I just knew when I was 20 that I just didn't want to spend my life with that person. So I didn't think it was fair to either one of us to drag it through the mud, and then we wake up in 10 years, realize we don't like each other. We might be a couple kids in. Oops. So yeah, I've always been intentional, but I'm more intentional now, and I'm very slow paced now. Like I'm chilling for the right reasons, and we talked about this on the last episode. Like I'm not in a rush to like, I need to get married, I need to have kids, I need to do that, I need to like, no, it's okay for me right now.
Okay, that's cool. I like all of your answers. I think what I would add to it, I'm gonna take from what you said, Brandy, as far as what the person said, love being kind of like a choice situation. For me, again, being through the experiences that I've been through, I learned that love is a choice too. And too many times we grow up thinking that it's all about the feeling, and feelings come and they go. You know, and I am a Christian, and I come from a very like Bible based thought process when I'm thinking about these things. And so, you know, a lot of times as Christians, we quick to say God is love. You know what I mean? But like, do we really even know what that means? And like, to really understand what that means, like God is love, not because he just loves you, but like love, when we break it down, is an action word. Like God is love because he gave, you know what I mean? He gave. It was an outward emotion. And so when you think of the opposite of love is selfishness, because if love is an outward thing, the opposite of that outward thing will be an inward thing. And so when you're thinking about love in those aspects, you got to really understand like what it means. And when you understand what it means, and it's not about feelings, it's a principle. And so that's how my definition of it has changed. It's not a feeling. So y'all can get that out of your heads. I don't feel in love with you. You know what I mean? Like love is absolutely a principle. And I feel like the more people can come to grips with that, and people can understand that concept, you know, I feel like we got a better chance of finding who we're meant to be with. So those are good answers. Okay. So let me go to my next one. How much time we got? Y'all got a time?
We good. We already talked about that. You straight. Go ahead.
I'm straight. Go ahead. All right. So what role has healing played in how you show up in relationships today? That could be even like friendships. Like what role did healing play in like the relationships that y'all keep? And that's not to say you're healed.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
As I've healed and healing.
Yeah. But you know, when we discover things about ourselves, we change certain things. So like what role has that journey played?
I would say for me, like on my journey, it's taught me to be more self-aware about the role that I play. And I've transitioned from that, like, this is how I am, to like really sitting back and like checking myself, like, this is where you was wrong. And it's not always everybody else's fault. And so it's made me be more like apologetic towards people instead of just like feeling like the fault. I mean, what am I trying to say? The problem is the other person's fault versus taking a second to be like, okay, what did I do wrong? Also, too, like, I've stopped taking things personal. Like, when other people do certain things, I don't let it make me mad no more. Like, I just be like, it's whatever. Like, I don't take it personal. That's just who you are. And that's cool. Like, I'm just going about my day.
I mean, if people can learn to not take stuff personal, that would solve a lot of problems.
Yeah. I used to be really, really bad at that. Like, I took a lot of stuff personal that had nothing to do with me.
Yeah,
like,
not taking it personal and not assuming.
Yeah.
Those are key things. Any other answers on that? What role has healing played in relationships? Even friendships?
I think for me, just confronting the hard stuff. I've talked about a friendship that I had well over 20 years that ended a couple years ago. And looking back on it now, it was because her and I couldn't deal with the hard stuff. She would either retreat or combat, or I would retreat and stop talking. And so now I make it a point, like I was just having a hard conversation with somebody not too long ago, and I prefaced it by saying, like, I'm going to cry, but I'm okay. But we're going to talk about this. And even if we don't figure it out by the end of this conversation, we're going to get as far as this conversation can go. So I've done a lot better with actually having the hard conversations and looking inward, like Dario said, to see like where I went wrong. I've said before, like my tone can be messed up. My stale face can be a problem. You know what I mean? Like just not really having empathy for people sometimes. So all things that I've looked at within myself and try to figure out how to turn from that and just show up better. And also be honest with my friends of like, again, I'm probably not the friend that's gonna come to the party. Like, but I got you on the give. Or you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just and surrounding myself with people who are okay with that. They're okay with everybody being individuals. Like my core group of friends, they love to dance, have a good time. They know, but if I'm gonna be more chill, I'm gonna be more relaxed. So just surrounding myself with people who are in alignment. You know what I mean? Even if it looks different for everybody, we're still in alignment.
So I have a question because I feel like for me, when it comes to like my close friends, like I've had hard conversations, but sometimes I avoid them because I feel like I have a fear of like either hurting their feelings or the friendship like ending because they didn't like that I addressed a hard situation. Like, do you feel like that's how you felt?
That's how I felt when that friendship dissolved. I did feel like that, where I really thought it put me in a place where it had me second guessing whether or not I was a good person, right? And so then I had to come to the understanding that it wasn't me being a bad person. This is somebody who at that time in their life, they could not take a critique. They simply just could not. And that doesn't make her a bad person. That's just where she was in that time frame. And so it made me shut down in a way of like, where you see your friend messing up or not making the best decisions, you just let them do it because you don't want the friendship to end. But thankfully, I've come out of that and I've put myself around people now where even if it stings, they can hear me. Because I do feel like, again, referring back to biblically, we are supposed to be able to hold our friends accountable and correct them in love. And if you know that I love you and my intentions are not to hurt you, even if it stings, you should be able to receive what I said, even if you don't agree with all of it.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like I struggled with that too, some like in the past, just not wanting to hear the truth. But now it's like I know when I need to hear it. And I know who to call when I need to hear the hard truth, even though it's just like it hurt a little bit. But it's like I need to be told to straight up.
And then you have friends where when you know you want them to just, you know what I mean, fine with you call them. Because we got, you know what I mean? Like I have that too. Like I know who to call when it's just gonna be like, yeah, I'm with you, girl. Or it's like, I mean, I hear you, but
I got this one friend, we be calling each other and we were like, we are clowns. Like, let's just be clowns for Halloween because we just
I'll say for me really quickly, mine was self-awareness and accountability. And I've talked about this on the podcast before. The reason I started therapy was to see how I showed up in my relationships platonically and romantically. Because I'm very intentional about my friendships. I always have been. So it's important to me to show up as my best self. And then on the flip side of that, it's taught me like, it's okay to not be your best self sometimes, but you have to surround yourself around those people that are okay with that too. So it made me more self-aware of the areas that I did take things personal. I've always been the person that would hold people accountable. My friends hated it growing up. Like when you were talking about like the face, they hated that. Or like, I'm always going to speak up on something and my delivery was always off. Like if something was wrong, I'm telling them right then and there, like that's fucked up. And they're like, damn, like you always got to have this stern. So it made me realize how I came across and more self-aware and that it's not wrong to speak on those things, but how I'm speaking on them, when I'm speaking on them. Me and one of my friends always ask each other if we have the capacity to hear what the other person's about to say. So I would say that's pretty much mine in a nutshell. And then holding people accountable. I do not have friendships in my life that you can't be accountable. I had a similar situation. I lost a friend that I had been friends with for 15 years, and it was because of her lack of accountability. We could never sit down and it be, this is where I fucked up, this is where I fucked up, let's move forward. It would be me going, this is where I fucked up. And of course, she has a different story. Everybody does, 3 parts to every story. Me being like, this is where I fucked up, and her maybe talking about where she fucked up, and then it's back to me again. You know, I might have done this wrong, but Kim, you have this big ass list.
It's always something else.
Yeah, and it's like, I cannot continue to, this is going to be a 5-hour conversation because we're going tit for tat versus it being, I fucked up, you fucked up, we know where we're at. Can we move past this? If we can't, it has to stop here. So to this day, current day, I do not have people that are going to kiki with me and bullshit in my face. If I fucked up, they'll tell me, and vice versa. And I only want relationships like that moving forward. And that's how I've operated with at least the last 3 to 5 years. It has to be that way, or I personally can't function in environments that are not straightforward, straight up. Because I spent a lot of my childhood guessing, so I don't feel safe in those scenarios. So it's very important to me that my relationships, I never have to second guess. Because I'm not my best self when I have to second guess. And I guess maybe that's why sometimes in relationships, when I have those insecure moments, I don't show up as the single confident Kim, because now I'm spiraling due to having to wonder something. So
those are good takes. I feel like the common thread from the answers are having real people that could, tell you if you tripping, and like you said, you got your people when you want somebody to side with you. I think it's really important to have like realness in your life. I feel like for me, when I think about some of the healing that I've been doing, it just allows me to be real and authentic. And so today, like I vow to myself and the people that know me and the people that deal with me to be who I am. Because we know what it feels like when we're not being ourselves. Like it ain't something that we talk about that often, but when we really sit down, like it's not a good space to really not be able to be who you are. And so stepping into any situation, whether friendship or relationship, I know today to really just be me. And so like that leads me to another question that's not on here, but is important, and I feel like it should be answered. When it comes to a relationship, we're talking about boyfriend and girlfriend relationship this time. How important is it for you to be authentically you? And are you a safe space for the guy to be authentically themselves?
It's very important. That matters to me, and I think I'm a safe space. I feel like I allow people the space to be who they are, even the bad things. Like I don't judge. I don't make people feel bad for things that they're working on or where they might, the areas they lack in. And I hope that the people I've dated felt like I allowed them to, be themselves authentically.
Okay. Next. I mean, because it kind of goes to some of the things that y'all talked about on the last episode too. So like, do you feel like you're a safe space for,
One, yes, I do think it's important for me to show up as my authentic self in relationship. I think that depending on who you ask, I'm a safe space. And if you ask somebody else, maybe I'm not. I don't know. It's funny because what came to mind is like my ex, this was like towards the end of our breakup, and I thought he had a drinking problem. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it out there. And the first question I asked him, this was coming off of like a heels of a issue that we had, and the first thing I said was, "Are you an alcoholic?" And in the moment, I didn't think nothing of it. Right?
Yeah.
It was just like, I mean, it's just a question.
Yeah.
But now looking back at it, if he was struggling with it, I wouldn't have told the truth to myself. And then also looking back and not being in the moment, considering the grief that he was going through from losing a parent and just all of the things, I wasn't a safe space. So I think I can be, as long as I'm not in my shit, you know what I mean? And just trying to be right, you know what I mean? Versus actually seeing perspective and what someone else is going through.
Do you know when you are and when you aren't?
I think I'm more aware of it now.
That's cool.
But my expectation would be in relationship if I'm not, for that person to tell me.
Feel that.
Okay.
I do think I am. We're talking boyfriend, girlfriend. Okay. I do think I am a safe space, and I think that that's been taken advantage of in the past.
Mm.
Because I am the type that's like, pour it out to me. Just tell me everything. Tell me all your business, and I'll just cater. You can just lay right here. It's fine. I'll just take care of you. So I think I am that way, though, strictly with like boyfriend, girlfriend. Like I let that vulnerability open up. But I think as I'm dating, I'm still a safe space, but I don't leave as much room to be dumped on. Like casually dating, I don't leave that much room. I do feel good when someone does do that, though, naturally, because it shows that I am a safe space. Because who am I to judge somebody? Who am I to, tell somebody who they are, what they are, when they are, that's wrong, that's this, that. And I noticed probably in the last couple of years, people do that to me naturally. Could be a stranger, and they'll just come up to me and tell me and so I'm sure that's something that God's like, you need to tap into that. I did have a prophetic word about that I just have been kind of trying to ignore for some years, because it just scares me a little bit.
Yeah, it's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, it just scares me a little bit. And I think part of that is, if it was a stranger, I mean, I'm like, are you going to kill me at the end of this? So yeah, I think I am in a boyfriend, girlfriend standpoint. And I do think it's important to be able to do that, because if you're in a relationship and you can't do that, to me, that screams that there's a way bigger problem in play here than you realize, I guess.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think when I think about being a safe space, I feel like I'm a safe space because I understand that everybody deserves a certain amount of grace. And like kind of what you were saying earlier, Daria, like I'm not judgmental. And I feel like even to date, I have to be a safe space because I want to see everything. I don't want to come across judgmental. Like I don't want to be none of that. Just show me what you got and let me figure out if I want to deal with that or not going down the road. But like, I think it's really important for people to be able to show you exactly what they are, because too many times people can fake it for a long time, and ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah. I got another question, kind of on the heels of that. Never mind. I'm not gonna go there.
No, it's too late now.
Yeah, you spoke. Come on.
Come on. Let me see.
Come on, we got time for one more.
I want to know what you was gonna say.
Yeah, come on.
No.
Well, you got to tell us after.
We'll see.
You're making our listeners very upset.
They'll be fine.
They just told me.
They'll be fine.
Right now in our live chat that's happening.
So let me see.
As fuck.
Let's ask about a dating question real quick. Let's go back to this kind of one of those questions that you had earlier. What is your expectation on the first date? Let's leave it on that note. What do you have
context.
an expect?
That's just it. That's the question.
What if there's a guy, he slid into your DM, Kim, I want to take you out, and you like, you know what? I feel like going out this weekend. And it goes back to what we talked about in the beginning. Like, what is your expectation?
Don't be on your phone.
Don't be on your phone? Okay.
I like that one.
Yeah, be intentional.
Don't be on your phone. Be intentional.
I just want to have a good time. Like, I don't want it to be boring where you're not really talking and you're not really like present.
Yeah. Engaged,
Yeah.
That's it?
That's why I'm like, I feel like that's so general.
It is general. So, okay, let's talk about, we talked about like the outline of, what you want done, what a person would want done, right? Is there anything, I'll just rephrase the question. Is there anything that's unacceptable on the first date for you three specifically?
I mean, the first one that comes to my mind is thinking that we're going on this date, so I'm going to have sex with you tonight.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a real thing.
Yes, it is. And I have learned that the hard way multiple times, and then they get very upset when it doesn't go that way.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
That was the first thing that came to my mind, because that is I've had more men often than not think like, oh, like why the fuck would that be the intent? You only wanted me to go out with you so you could have sex tonight.
Yeah.
Like there's not 15 women in your phone that you can call as soon as we get off this date.
Yeah.
I'm confused. And I don't even present that way. So it's shocking to me how many times it has happened.
Yeah, I could understand that.
I don't know. Ariel has me weak.
Cause she got expectations. She don't want to say.
Don't. I really don't. And I should. I think that's the problem. I just show up and it's like either I fuck with it or I don't. I don't
The
know.
vibes are there or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with Kim.
I don't
I
care
think
where we
engaging
go.
in no phones, sex is off the table on the first date.
What? Oh, you talk. All right. I ain't good. Okay.
But I feel you because when I was in my 20s, it may not have been. That's what I was like when Kim was saying it. I'm like, I'm gonna shut up.
Come on now. Y'all be knowing. Y'all be
Oh,
knowing when you
man.
want to. When you don't.
In my 30s, is definitely off the table. But yeah.
Yo, that is funny. Yeah, because it's wild out here today.
What about you?
My expectation?
Mhm.
So, my expectation is not to be on the interview.
Mm.
So, I hate, like I said, I've been working for myself for a long time. I've recently picked up I guess I'll call it a day job to add to everything else that I do. But one of my two things I hate in this world: pumping gas in the cold and filling out job applications. Like I don't want to go on a date and feel like I'm interviewing for something.
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, it takes all the fun out of why I'm even here.
So what's some examples of feeling like you're on an interview?
Like
So what do you do for work?
that kind of thing.
Okay.
Being too serious too.
Okay.
Like I don't want to be super serious all the time, especially not like on the first date.
On
Like
first date,
yeah.
I don't want to be seriously like diving into something crazy.
You
Yeah.
want just like natural conversation.
Yeah, just natural conversation, because you know when you're being sized up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know when you're being sized up, and it doesn't feel good. So for me, like I don't want to be on a job interview, and I want to know that you really like me.
On first date?
Yeah.
In terms of like, I'm just not here for the food?
Yes.
Okay. I got you. I got you.
Like feeling you type shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
That
because
makes
I've been in scenarios where the young lady would present like she would like me, but she never did anything on like 4 dates.
Okay.
And so it was the first time in my life, I want my money back. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I'm like, wait a minute. 4 days, it was only like $400. Like, so it wasn't a ton of money,
Yeah.
but like, not even a candy bar. Like, you don't really like me for real. So like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? So like, you don't have to like, obviously, if you really just going out with somebody for the first time, you don't have to have all these crazy emotions and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But like, I don't want to be on a job interview. I want to have fun. And I want to know that you like me. Because, the games are out there,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and we from the same generation. Y'all remember the wait 3 days before you call?
Oh
When
yeah,
you get
I'm not doing that.
90-day
Like,
rule.
Yeah.
I'm
all
one
that
of them
kind of
people.
stuff.
You text me, I'm texting you right back.
Yeah.
man.
Hey,
I'm
Mookie,
not-
been
yeah,
waiting to talk
That's
to
it,
you.
man.
Hey.
So like, no games. Like, I don't want to be on no interview. Like, let's figure out if we like each other or not. Because I ain't got time.
Yeah, heavy
That's
on the
fair.
no games.
Yeah.
I don't like maybe I'm doing too much. And if I ever feel that way, I'm going to say it. Like, I feel like I'm bugging. No, you're
Yeah.
not cool.
Yeah. Cause I think that all revolves around the safe space though. But I just, those are my expectations. Like, be who you are and don't interview me. Cause over time, like I'm gonna show you who I am. Like,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
the if you really want to know something about somebody, just ask them about themselves.
Mhm.
Like at the end of the day, what do you enjoy doing? Then they gonna tell you. You know what I mean? So I don't like the type of prodding questions. So you can ask me anything. Like I don't mind questions at all. Like I'll tell you straight up, keep it real. But the job interview feels a whole lot different from you really just trying to get to know me.
know somebody.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
So
fair.
But yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave it. You know, I would like to maybe do this again, and I'm big on business. Like I would love to talk business with y'all, man. Like I
We can
love
do
business.
excited.
Yeah,
I'm over here like we can do that.
In all honesty, like even on my show, like I don't do relationship stuff. Like outside of what I've been through, like I've been exposing, my life a little bit, but it's really like Maniacal. It's really about the unwavering want to succeed. You know what I mean? And so that's really all I'm talking about. But it's cool to talk about, relationship stuff, but like my specialty is the business stuff, man.
Yeah.
So we got to do that.
We'll put something together for you. We enjoyed having you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming, Wayne.
Thanks for having me. It was fun, man.
What's your social media so people can follow you and check out your
really just look me up on Instagram, fintech.murph.
Say it one more time for the people.
Fintech.murph. A lot of people don't know what fintech means. That's financial technology.
Love it.
.murph.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. You can follow us on Instagram at Take Control Podcast. And you can email us at takecontrolpodcast@gmail.com. And we'll catch y'all later. Bye.
Bye.